Braden, Brandon, oh my lord, I'm already butchering it now, and Marion, both of which are from People in the Trees, or is it the tree? It's trees, right? It's an S at the end of that.
Trees,
Okay.
yep.
All right. So before we're going to go into the in depth of the project that is right now at Indiegogo.com, I want to go around and you guys introduce yourselves and explain how long you've been in the business. So we're going to go with ladies first. Please introduce yourself and explain how long you've been in the business.
Well, my name is Marion Singh, and I have been on stage and in acting roles since I was about 4 years old, but that's neither here nor there. I have actually been involved in stage and screen and all of that stuff. I got my Screen Actors Guild membership in October of 2015, and I have been in various productions of different types as a stunt person and an actor. And my most recent one that anybody would have seen is Halloween 2018. I was the first to die by Michael Myers' knife. So that was fun.
All right. Braden?
Yes, less impressive than Marion.
Yep.
It's always hard following her. She's so awesome. You're gonna love her by the end of this call. I've been acting for about 20 years now. The first show I did was an operetta called Amal and the Night Visitors, and it sort of went from there. I did theater for a long time. I did my first film project was with PBS. I was in a show called Road Trip, and that was in 2006. And I went back and forth between film and Dance of the Dead and theater. Did mostly theater, but I got burnt out. You know, it's really easy. Anybody who's been in film or theater a long time can tell you. You know, you like we talked about a minute ago. It's really easy to get burned out. You know, you just take on so much and do so much at one time, and you just need a break. So. I've been back in film for over a year now, and I'm loving it. Made some good connections with Marion and the other two members of our
So
team.
let's start off with top. Marion, please explain yourself and in your acting experience.
Okay, well, my name is Marion Singh, and I have been on stage and things like that since I was 4 years old. But that's just the early stuff with theater and all of that. I actually got my Screen Actors Guild membership in October of 2015, and I started in productions like Mockingjay 2, Hunger Games, and then I moved on to Insurgent, which is the sequel to Divergent, Pitch Perfect 3, and a couple of episodes of the originals, and then I got into the horror world with Halloween 2018, where I'm closing the blinds and Michael Myers comes up behind me and, oh, through the throat. Oh, that's gotta hurt. But, you know, other than a couple of other insatiable episodes on Netflix and I think some music videos. You know, just I'm various places, but that's where most people will see me.
Awesome. Thank you. And Braden, your turn.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. So I have been acting for about 20 years now. I've done about a little over 60 productions between stage and film, 95% being stage. I did my first film project. It was for TV. It was for PBS. That was in 2006. It was in a show called Road Trip. It was a lot of fun, but not really what I was looking for. So I left for a couple years and came back, and I still go back and forth in between film and theater. Like we were, discussing earlier, I got sort of burned out with theater, so I made the transition to only film about a year ago, and that's kind of where I plan to stand. I really like the indie film community. To me, it reminds me a lot of theater, I guess, because you have this sense of community and support and togetherness largely. And I really like that. And the other two people that are a part of our crew, our production company, are not here, are Stacy Langenkamp, who is directing, and Mikey Manshot, who is executive producing. And so they're both a big part of our team also.
Nice. That's some good shit. Thank you guys for introducing yourself. So let me explain how this show works, and then we'll go from this. This is kind of like a shoot of the hip type of show where I, your host, Adam Santos, will ask you guys questions about what you like and whatnot. But for right now, this is the spotlight moment where you guys talk about your project and where to go, help you, support, and donate, and all that good stuff.
Cool. Marion is our creative director. So if you want to give a brief synopsis, I'll let her take over there.
All right.
Okay, no spoilers now. I have to be very careful with this. This is the basic synopsis is an indie film crew goes into the forest to kind of scout out a location and see if they want to use it for their filming project and production. And they just wind up in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they run into uh, beings that they just had no idea existed in the universe, and it's really pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think people are going to love, this when they see, like Marion said, we can't give any spoilers away, and it's really hard not to because when we get in these meetings and we get to talking about it, we get so excited, and it's like, oh, we just want to keep telling more and keep telling you guys more of the story. But it's really, I know this is cliche, and a lot of people say, oh, this story is so original, but this truly is an original story. It's really, really good. I think people are really going to love it a lot. We did, obviously.
Well, I hope so. You're filming it.
Yes, yes.
So it's on Indiegogo.com, correct?
That's right. Yep. It's igg.me/@/people in the trees.
Nice. So, all right. So here it goes. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. So where I have two of you guys, what's going to happen is you're going to both get the same question. And it's going to go ladies first, then you. And it's 5 questions. Very simple stuff. Just so people can have like more of a personal feel about you guys. So first and foremost is what is your top 3 favorite horror films?
Top 3. Oh, good Lord. So many franchises to choose from. I mean, if you're going to live in the big 3, you got, Jason, Freddy, and Michael. I mean, it's kind of hard to go outside that circle just because it's so iconic. The newer stuff, I don't, like Saw, the kind of murder porn kind of stuff, the torture porn and all that. I don't really wrap my mind around it. They all have their place. But I think I would have to stick with the big 3. I would have to stick with the big 3 franchises, and it's hard to break those down into one of them. I know which one is not my favorite, Michael. I mean, Trick or Treat. No, I'm sorry. We aren't going to go there. But I think that if you're talking 3, oh man, I'd have to say 3 franchises. I don't know that I could say 3 movies. I really don't.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there. It's hard to pick out movies. As far as like scary movies, I like them all. I think like slasher films are great. They're fun to watch, but they don't scare me in the way that like supernatural or paranormal does because you don't really have control over those things. So, I'm a really big fan of the Insidious franchise and The Conjuring. I don't know. I just love those. I think those are great franchises. I don't know of any of the films that I didn't just like love, really love the first time I saw them. Nightmare on Elm Street is another great one. It's just a classic series, and I think New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare is probably my favorite. I know I'm going to probably catch a lot of crap for that, but I think that's my favorite out of that franchise.
To be fair about the New Nightmare, it afterwards, many years later, it essentially picked up a following.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. I mean, some films don't. Let's just be real. Some films afterwards stay at the same plateau that they're at for for a very long time.
Yeah, and I think that films like, the older, like The Exorcist and Poltergeist, I mean, you can't discredit those for their place in history of horror. I mean, it's not necessarily horror, but it is scare your pants off. If somebody did that crap to me when I walked in their bedroom, I would die. That kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I grew up watching the Universal Monsters, Alpha Hitchcock Hour. I mean, I essentially grown up on it. So I mean, obviously, I know what my favorites are. But another aspect is everyone has like a style to themselves that is contribute off of something that they actually like. So, for example, my directorial style has come from such greats as Alfred Hitchcock, Wes Craven, John Carpenter were essentially my inspire to why I am a filmmaker. So the question I have to you is, who are the three essential people that inspire you to act, or at least contribute to your style?
Wow. As far as my acting training goes, because I went to school, I am a Meisner person. I do, classic Meisner method, but not method acting. I don't do the method. But Meisner played a big role in acting sincerely under artificial circumstances. You have to be yourself in whatever role you do as another person so that you appear more authentic in what you do and in everything that you do. So I think that Meisner is the one that affected my acting more. But as far as inspiring in the business, I don't know. I mean, there are certain films that are just classic throughout all of time, and though that's why they're used in acting school, and certain directors as well. So I don't know if I would go with more of a gosh, there are so many different genres to choose from. I mean, the Carpenter, the way that Carpenter chose his horror film style to be done is very theater of the mind. It's very, you scare yourself because we aren't going to show you everything. We aren't going to go
Correct.
diving inside a human body because there's the blood and there's the gore. I think that the most scared we will ever be is what we do to ourselves in our own minds, because we create the monster under the bed. We create the monster in the closet. We create our own boogeyman, our own shape or whatever that comes to get us in the night. So I really like those who don't do all the thinking for you, but they let you put together your own horror in your mind.
I like that. That is a great
Yeah,
answer.
definitely. I think for me, as far as acting technique goes, which Marion and I have, talked about this, Uta Hagen, I'm a huge, fan of. She's no longer with us, but just as far as technique goes, I still use this to this day, and it's applicable for theater or for film, whatever. It doesn't matter. Uta Hagen taught this concept that before you go into production for something, you really need to investigate your character, and you need to come up with this backstory for your character. I mean, there have been characters, depending on the depth of the character that I'm playing or for the show, that you come up with this whole backstory, childhood memories, or marital memories, or anything you can come up with, and it really does make a difference when you portray your character later on, because those experience you've also experienced the things that character have experienced. It really does make a difference. I swear by that. I will always do that. When I go into production, I will have pages of notes on a character, a backstory, and it really helps you determine their motivations. And I don't know. I just love her. She's brilliant. She's written some great stuff. If you've never read any of her work, definitely check it out. As far as acting, I really got into acting. It wasn't an actor. It was an actress. Her name is Kim Zimmer, and she was. This is probably not what you're expecting, but she was an actress on this soap opera called Guiding Light for like 20 years or something. And I remember watching her when I was a kid. It was on my mom's shows, and just she's so natural. Like, you can still go back and look at clips of her now, and she just acted circles around the people that she was in scenes with. Her acting was just so natural and so focused and organic. And I was just like, wow, that's what I want to do. So, yeah, I can't pick out anyone's style specifically. I guess, I don't know. One of my friends said I was sort of like Billy Lord, I guess, because I have resting bitch face all the time, and I just do. But no, I can't think of anyone that I model. I have a lot of people certainly that I admire, though.
Well, that's once again, both of you had some really good answers to that. So another thing that I always say, and this is me. I mean, any filmmaker probably feels the same way when you watch a film and you just like you cringe at scenes that, or you see something that maybe a typical fan won't because they're so in depth into the thing, but they see, like for example, I watched Zach and Mary make a porno when it was in the theaters, and I don't know if you ever noticed it, but the boom mic is in the scene in one of their scenes when they're talking with each other. So stuff like that. So do you have an experience watch a film that you saw something that just irked you as like a filmmaker?
Wow. Um,
This might take a while with Marion.
So you can jump
well,
right in, you know,
oh my gosh. I mean, as things are being done, you notice things that slip through the cracks, just continuity, things of that
right.
nature. And it's really, it's things like that, you know, it kind of takes you out of the experience. You're kind of like, oh man, that reference is a little modern for when this was filmed, or just basic things like that, because they have continuity experts. This is their job. They're kind of supposed to, you know, do the things. But when we were filming, when we were filming Allegiant, and it was the big hive scene when everybody is, you know, I was one of the erudite dauntless, and we were kept in prison cells, and the actors were in the center of the room saying their thing, the main monologues that they were saying. The people in the crowd started memorizing their dialogue because we were having to do it however many times. And you could see some people mouthing the dialogue as the actors were saying it. And I was like, oh, stop. What are you doing? Oh my God, I'm dying. Just things like, you know, that should definitely be able to be in a controlled environment. And it's hard to control humans. Humans are an unexpected kind of thing when you're filming, and you just
Oh, yeah.
never know what somebody's going to do, so that they can say afterward, if they make the edit, look for the person that's taking a drink of water. You know, and that's me, you know, and it's totally brings you out of the scene if it actually makes it through. But they usually have people to stop that kind of stuff.
All right.
So I don't know. I guess people that really want to be seen, you know, and they get like as close to the actor as they can, or things like that, that try to muscle their way into a scene they have absolutely nothing to do with except for being there. That kind of irks my shorts a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, I think the thing that my biggest pet peeve when I watch a movie is phone calls. It really irks me when you know, a phone call, like if say someone answers a phone, or they're having a phone conversation, and you can see like that there's stuff going on, other stuff going on in the screen, or that it's like, you know, that they're obviously not on a phone call. To me, it's not that hard to get that right. Like, how did somebody not see that while you know, or think about it while you were filming it? That irks me. And then, you know, also and maybe it was because, you know, I had an acting teacher who was so strict on, and you know, she made us for hours and hours, you know, rehearse, you know, like fake. You're having a phone conversation. There's obviously, when you're filming a movie or doing a play, there's obviously nobody there on the other end speaking to you, you know, and she would make us rehearse over and over again, because she, you know, she stressed how important it was that, like, this needs to look organic, this needs to look real. And I think the majority of movies I see where people are having phone conversations is just rushed, and it doesn't look real to me
Authentic
a
to
lot
you?
of times. Right. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, for whatever reason, that those are my biggest, like, you know, pet peeves, the things that irk me the most, I think, about watching film.
And that's easy stuff, guys.
Very easy.
That's the stuff that should be caught. That's the stuff that shouldn't
Well,
be that hard. And maybe that's why it bothers us so much.
Yeah.
well, it's funny because I brought that up last night's interview, that scene with the boom mic, and my guest, you know, brought up a situation where she had a unit director, assistant director, film a shot, and the mic was essentially on top of this water tank, and you can barely hear the audio.
Oh, no.
The issue was, you know, they took so many scenes, that was the only good one they had. So she managed to salvage what she could, which is by all means, I mean, and that's what I was thinking. What was going on with Zach and Mary? Maybe there was like 700 damn scenes of that one scene, and for whatever reason, that was the best one they had out of the whole thing.
When
And
people are
once again,
moving.
it just proves that they were banking on no one to notice it. or at least show up high
Mhm.
as hell and just watch the movie for that
Yeah.
little bit. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's
Seth Rogen film, I wouldn't be too surprised.
right. And sometimes, everybody moves at the right time. Everything else is right. Maybe we can crop it. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit more in
Exactly.
post. Maybe, you just try to go with what you got if that's the only one where everybody else did what they were supposed to do?
And sound is everything.
Oh my God.
Correct.
Sound is everything. People, they don't. I mean, it's I can't emphasize that enough. Sound is everything when you're doing a movie. One
Yeah,
hundred
what do
percent.
you notice the most when you're watching a movie? It's like one person's dialogue is way up front, the other person's is way in the background, and maybe the soundtrack is too loud depending on the dialogue, especially in the indie world. You'll see a lot of that stuff happening, and it's like
Oh
you
yeah.
have to have the sound balance right. The mix has to be right. The soundtrack can't suck. It can't be over top of the dialogue
Oh
in
yeah.
any point. You just have to make sure. Don't listen to it on headphones. Listen to it on a bunch of different systems so that you know what you're listening to. Because the average person is not going to watch your film wearing headphones unless they're on a plane or something. I mean, you got to really
Oh yeah.
watch that stuff because it can really mess up your production. It really can.
What's really funny, there's a fun fact here. I watched the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, and they were talking how Will Smith used to mouth all the people's dialogue while they were doing the episodes, and you can see it. So now when I go back and watch Fresh Prince, I actually look for it, and I find it all the time, which I find it to be
Yeah.
hilarious now because I never noticed it.
Yeah, you get the
So
lead in lines, it's like your cue based on the line before yours. So you kind of have to know if this person loses their line, I need to know the person before so that I can do mine and bail them out so we don't have a moment. So
correct.
some people just go ahead and memorize the whole thing.
So another question, and then after that, when I go into my own little dialogue of some stuff, and we'll go from there. But here's an interesting question. As a actor, actress, filmmaker, and so forth in the business, there's always a chance where dialogue may not actually sound correct when saying it. So when is it that you allow some type of improv or impromptu replacement to those lines if it sounds like it fits the scene better?
Well, the rule of thumb for most directors, the rule of thumb, first time, do what's there. Do cold hard math, do a straight rendition, and then we need to, because we're nailing down everybody moving at the same time, doing all the right things. As soon as everybody's moving right and doing all the right things, first do it the way it's written. And then after that, and you get over the shoulder, you get your two shot, you get your, all of your all of your isolations and everything like that. Then go ahead and now give us what you would say as that character. Do some improv. Let's see what we can keep. Let's see what we can change. We'll do some lace in stuff. We'll just intersperse it between if we feel something authentic and better than what the dialogue that was written for you is. Because script writers, they have a place and they think about, especially like playwrights, things like that. Every line is chosen so specifically. Film and TV, you're given a little more leeway, but those script writers, like think about Fran and Philippa from Lord of the Rings. I mean, they went through that book and they wrote that script so that it would be applicable to the things that were not making it through into the film. So it had to, certain lines insinuated and led you through the rest of the film for a reason. So if you get rid of a line that insinuates something else and brings it in, then you have kind of defeated their purpose and what they were trying to do when they were script writing for you as a character. It's like, we don't have to go into Tom Bombadil if we have you say this. We don't have to go into the Ents if we have you say that. So I think but that's the rule of thumb. First time, cold hard math. Once everything is nailed down in rehearsals and all that stuff, run throughs and things of that nature. At the end, the final few takes, you get to play, you get to live in the role, you get to really say what you would say of the things that aren't really coming out of your mouth, the things that don't really sound like what you think the character would say. And a lot of times The director will say, you showed me something I didn't know I needed to see. Okay, we'll keep that. Now do that after this, and then we'll run it on, the wide, or we'll run it on the ISO, or we'll run it on a dolly shot, or whatever. But they will give it merit if they see that you, as an actor, as a creator yourself, will do a collaboration with the scriptwriter on the fly and just come up with something that is something the director didn't know they needed to see, but it fed the character something else that was life.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I believe that improv is a vital skill to have. If you're going to be an actor, you have to be able to improv. And there is a fine line between knowing when, like Marion said, when to improv or say what might feel better than what's written. And it's just working with your director and creative director, producer, whatever, whoever is involved in the process. Each film's a little different. When you do that, don't be arrogant and take it upon yourself to just to take over, because it's not about you. It's about the bigger project. But that's the good thing about rehearsals. And one thing, like, for talking about the people in the trees, that we do have a good advantage is that we are all rehearsing this going before we even before we film, and so then when we're there, we're much more prepared. We're better equipped to make those creative choices and those decisions, because no matter if you've done a movie, or a play, if you've done any kind of project, that when you read it, it's going to sound one way, like in your head. Then when you read it out loud to yourself, it's going to sound totally different. And then, well, maybe that doesn't make sense for me to say it that way. And then when you have it, when you have a table read, or when you have read with a group of producers or friends or whomever, it's going to sound different. And what might have felt right in one scenario, situation or scenario, might not feel right once you're there in the moment. And when you're acting it out, when you're surrounded by the characters, and when you're there in that moment, and you're just focused on that scene and what's going on, around you, it changes. So a lot of times writers have the best of intentions, and I could say the same thing about actors. Sometimes actors have the best of intentions, but it's just, nobody knows the character better than the person playing the character, especially if you've spent hours and hours and hours just getting your mindset, becoming that character. I know that sounds cliche, but I mean, it is what it is. Nobody knows that better than you, and so if it doesn't sound right, then screw it. It doesn't sound right. Come up with something. What would your character say in that moment? Marion and I were talking about this the other day. That doesn't sound right. So what would your character say then? And then it's like you shut everything out, and it just sort of comes out.
Yeah,
That's the best way.
It is, because I've written a couple of scripts. I directed a horror movie 13 years ago, and there was a scene where one of my characters got stabbed in the leg with a screwdriver by the serial killer, and this was a run-on joke at first. We were like, yeah, you ever notice in slasher films, people get killed with like the oddest weapon, but no one goes and says, who the fuck stabbed someone with this or that? Well, there's a scene, they're at the bank of a river, and the girl that he's trying to protect says, what happened to you? And he goes, I got stabbed in the leg with a screwdriver. Who the fuck stabbed someone in the leg with a screwdriver? It was probably the most talked about scene, just because it actually became, and it wasn't even written in. The original, there was actually no dialogue really to detail that scene, and it was just, we were running behind schedule, and he just blurted it out, and it just worked.
I love that. I love that. Who the hell stabbed somebody with a freaking screwdriver? I mean, it comes out. I mean, it's like, it's not even really sharp. So, ow, double ow, triple ow, and you just kind of put it through in your mind, and you're like, I got a screwdriver at home, or what it makes you think, what would it feel like? And you just kind of get
Exactly.
kind of a visceral feeling.
It sounds weird. Like, for example, when I saw, like, I was interested as soon as I saw your background, and it said people in the tree, and I'm thinking, you're probably gonna think I'm stupid. At first, I thought it was like a fan fiction version of People Under the Stairs. I'm like, what the hell? They're in the trees now. Like that's what my first train of thought was, because I love the movie, So I was like, how the hell do you pull that off? And that's why I really wanted to bring you guys on board to talk about it, because that right there, that triggered me. You get it? It was a childhood movie that I grown up watching, which got me interest to actually want to see your film, even if
That's
it's
great.
not anything related to people under the stairs. But it costs interest, which is a big thing. Like, let's
Hmm.
just be all real. Let's be real here. Interest is the biggest thing to a fan, right? Like, I don't know if you guys remember going to Blockbuster or Movie Gallery or whatever rental store, and the those direct to movie VHS, and the reason why you rented it was because of the awesome cover, right? So I feel it's the same thing. If you can draw me in by the title, imagine how they're gonna receive it when they watch it. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's very important that the title is the hardest part. If you think about it, what do you do for your tagline? What do
Mm-hmm.
you do for something that's going to bring people in and be interested in knowing more about what you have to say? Because I mean, if you're just going to have another film crew goes in the woods, stabby, stabby, death kill. I mean, it's there has to be something more to it, and that's kind of where we're going. Is that there is more to this. There are backstory upon backstory upon backstory. The background that the characters have access to, the depth of knowledge beyond the script, backstory of the characters, what makes them do what they do. There is a deep well of information they have to draw from, and what puts them in the situation that they are, and what makes them react the way that they react. It's all, however deep you want to go, that's where we want to take you. It's there is open-endedness for sequels. There is a lot of story that is yet to tell. So it's one of those things, but you got to get your audience interested. It's not just,
Exactly.
what am I going to do? Where am I going to run? Oh, they're coming. That can't just be it. It can't just be it.
Right. Yeah. And like Marion said, this is not just killing for the sake of killing. There is motivation. These people have histories, and they have lives, and it's this, like she said, it's this whole other world. I wish I could just tell you more, but
Spoilers. No.
you'll understand it when you see it. And I think when it ends, people are really going to be talking about it. Uh, um, because the possibilities of this other world where these people existed and have existed, is the possibilities are just endless. And you do, of course, you feel bad for the people dying, but then at the same time you're sort of like, when you understand the motivations behind the people, maybe you don't sort of feel so bad anymore. It's just their nature, and I guess that's all I can say about it.
Well,
Well,
I mean,
the tagline is also, we have always been here. And, death is a part of existence. The forest is calling you. That is that's kind of where we go with that. And when you read those, it kind of takes you to a place.
oh yeah,
And that's what brings us to that. And that's what made us decide on that particular tagline. We have been here since humans have been humans, that kind of thing. So, this is all, sorry, hate that you gotta die, but hey, do you blame the shark? Do you blame the snake for biting you? No, you kind of don't. But
Right.
hey, sorry, you gotta die. Bye.
Survival of the fittest, I guess.
Yep,
oh
that's
yeah.
it.
I mean, like, totally. This is also the part where I go to and I plug in a couple of sponsors real quick. Nova Promotions, professional wrestling at its finest, also streaming on New Vision. Also, New Vision will be the actual host for this show, WAZZ UP, which you can get on Roku and your Google TV. This is the What's Up Vlog Talk Radio Show. Now, sorry, I have to plug that in here and there. Um, so what are you looking at for Indiegogo in terms of rate? I mean, obviously it's there to help you guys finish the project, But what is it that the let's say the fans get in return, and what is the end project? What's the deadline, etc., etc.
That's all Braden, honey. That's all his thing. I'm just the brain that created the back stuff. Yeah, that's all Braden. That's not me.
Well, we have some great perks, the great perks available that we really hope people are taking advantage of. It's not you're not just donating to be when you donate to crowdfunding for a movie, you're donating to, and you're literally becoming part of that movie. You're becoming part of that whole process. And in the people in the trees, you're not just donating to be donating. We have really good perks such as signed copy of the script, which is I think is really cool. You don't see a lot of movies do that, so you can get a full copy of the script signed by the cast, and the same as movie posters. And we have spend a day on set, so you could come and you could spend a day on set with us, and meet everyone, and could be and be background, and just kind of hang out, which is an experience not everyone gets to experience. And we do hope to raise all the funds and film in June. That is our goal. We're working on that now through through all sorts of means of revenue, funding, but Indiegogo is really important to us. We like it. It lets the people that really care about the project get involved in a way that they might not otherwise be able to get involved.
Yeah, exactly. And if you think about it, we are inviting the fans, our horror family, everybody who gets together, and everybody knows the horror family is a family. Anybody who listens to the podcast, watch the channels. We watched a movie, Drum Dums, any of those, Cody Leach, Dave McCrae, anybody that watches any of those channels, they're all a family. If you watch a Q&A, if you watch any of the shows, it's like if you watch that, then everybody is concerned with everybody else's welfare. If somebody's hurting, people come together around them. I mean, the horror community is a family. Look at the conventions. Oh my gosh, everybody comes together and it's like a reunion, and people don't even know each other, but all of a sudden everybody can relate to everybody else. And we want to invite the horror community to join us on this journey to make the people in the trees what it can be. We're looking, this first one is going to be lower budget. We're looking for $60,000, and we're hoping that we can create this vision with a lower, think about Blair Witch. Think about all these projects that did something with nothing. And they became what they became because of the horror community. That's what you want. You don't want to just say, oh, well, hem ha. We're going to go into the industry and we're going to talk to people. And I want my horror family with me. And if they come along for this ride, there's nothing we can't do, guys. Come on. It's really cool to know that everybody that watches all the different channels, the podcasts, the Q&A, everything coming together under a common vision and a common goal. I don't care what project it is. Let us come too. That's what it's all about. Being the horror family.
And the actors attached to this project, they've signed on, and they're all equally excited about this too, about having fans involved. We have Kathy Podwell, who she started Night of the Demons. That's a classic. I think everybody's seen that. And then she was in Dallas. So we have Kathy Podwell. We have Justin Dwayne Hall. Everybody's seen Jeepers Creepers 3. And we have Jenna Cannell. She's so talented. She was in Terrifier and The Bye Bye Man. And if you saw WandaVision, she was in episode about 2 weeks ago. So doing good things. And we have Marion, who was at Halloween, and we have other people, and it's not just a job for these people. We have when we talk to them, they really care about the project, and I think that that is going to be shown in the end result. The fact that people care, it's not just a job for them. They care about the success of this. They want the fans to be happy with the product, and they want the fans to be involved, and I think that is exciting.
That is absolutely amazing.
They also are coming together as kind of, horror actor family. And that's the thing. There's networking that goes on behind the scenes of all these different genres. If you're in the action genre, then you network with those folks. And sometimes we get together and we want to do a film with our brothers and sisters, and again, it all comes down to family. That's what we're all about.
No, totally
Shout,
agree.
shout, shout out to the Atlanta, Georgia film community.
Whoop, whoop.
That's where we're gonna be filming, and a lot of our crew will be, Atlanta and this area. So shout out to all the Atlanta people. This is a good community for the arts in general.
That's awesome. I mean, like, honestly, I'm actually excited. Um, I actually really, really can't wait to see what the end product is. I mean, of course, you can't give me spoilers, but obviously, due to that, it's like putting a mousetrap out there, right? And I'm coming for that little cheese bit right there.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, I want to say thank you both for being on here tonight. I, by all means, I'm excited. I'm really am. And of course, at the end of this episode, at the end of this, when the video's edited and whatnot, at the very end, we'll be showing the link to the Indiegogo. We are going to go attach every information that I can get from these two lovely people, and make sure that all of you have the right information for people in the trees.
Yes, the people in the
People
tree.
in the trees. So,
Mm-hmm.
with that being said, my name is Adam Santos from WAZZ UP Vlog Talk Show, and Marion and Brandon. Uh,
It's
Braden.
Brandon. It's okay. I'll answer to you.
God damn it.
It is all good. But yeah, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, we've got the
Twitter.
Indiegogo page. We have, and feel free to check out all our personal pages too. We're on IMDb also. So come on, check us out. See what you think. Look at the cast. I mean, we've got a great cast together for this thing. That's another thing. The lookbook, what we pulled together as a group of characters. I mean, I think everybody will be excited by who we've got and what we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. It's exciting. I mean, we're really excited about this. It's going to be a good time. You're not gonna go into, you're not gonna sit in your seat and watch the movie and not enjoy it. It's just not possible.
With that being said, this is Vlog Talk. This is WAZZ UP Vlog Talk, the talk show. I'll see you guys. You guys have a good one.